हेलो फ्रेंड्स। उम्मीद है आप सभी बहुत अच्छे होंगे और सभी सुरक्षित होंगे। फ्रेंड्स, टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू कंटिन्यू आवर डिस्कशन ऑन बैलेंस ऑफ पेमेंट। दिस इज अगेन वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक ऑफ इंडियन इकोनॉमी. So we were discussing about two terms, balance of payment and balance of trade. Both equals exports minus imports. Then question arises, what's the difference between them? So BOP contains both visibles as well as non-visibles, whereas BOT contains only visibles. Visibles means goods and non-visible means services. So don't you think BOT is a narrow concept as it is talking only about goods? So generally when we talk of goods we took BOT, otherwise on a whole generally we talk about balance of payment because that is a more broader term. Also friends, you know that Indians have craze towards service sector, and Indian government for long have neglected the manufacturing sector. That's why you will be surprised to know that balance of trade of India is negative, whereas balance of payment is positive. What does this mean? This means that service sector is so positive that it has neutralized the negative effect of balance of trade and further added to the balance of payment. Friends, I have prepared this flow diagram for you for your understanding, and I am sure after going through this video you don't need to refer any book, any source for this particular topic. You can just add current affair for this topic, and that will be sufficient for any examination. So there are basically four components of balance of payment: current account, capital account, net errors and omission, and net forex reserve. We will discuss about all of them briefly. So first of all, current account. So all the short-term transactions are included in current account of both visibles as well as non-visibles. Let's discuss it with an example. So India has need of petroleum products. So you know that India will make payment to OPEC nations, and in turn OPEC nations will sell their petroleum products to India. So this is an example of short-term transaction of visibles. Let's take one example for non-visibles too. For example, somebody from other countries is visiting India to view Lal Killa, for example. So when he will visit India, don't you think he will expand on many activities? He will utilize transport of India. He might go to restaurant. So basically he is expanding in India. So it is basically an export of tourism services. Now one term that you must have heard in the newspaper on a daily basis, current account deficit. So it is basically export minus import. So if import bill of India will increase at a rapid pace, then export, it will be more. Moreover, it might happen that both are increasing, export as well as import. But import is increasing at a rapid rate. Even then it will be more. It should be as low as possible. So this is the definition of current account deficit that we have already discussed. Now coming to most important, capital account. It includes all the long-term transactions. There are again different component of it. Moreover, friends, whenever we heard about capital, it gives a sense of something huge money. So that's why we can imply that we can perceive from it that all the long-term transactions are included in capital account. Now let's discuss about all of them. FDI, FPI. So FDI is on-field investment and FPI is through share market. आप ऐसे भी समझ सकते हैं फ्रेंड्स, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर कोई बाहर से कोई आदमी यहाँ पे व्यापार करने के लिए आ रहा है, कोई बिजनेस यहाँ पे इन्वेस्टमेंट करना चाह रहा है, तो वो 2-3 महीने के लिए तो आएगा नहीं. ऑब्वियसली वो कम से कम 2 साल 3 साल तो लगाएगा इंडिया में. तो उससे भी आप समझ सकते हैं कैपिटल अकाउंट के बारे में. नाउ FDI एंड FPI, what is the difference between them? So FDI is on field investment and FPI is through share market. Current, as we have discussed about current account deficit, similarly we have capital account deficit. So let's discuss about FDI in somewhat more detail. So FDI, as I told you, that it's a on field investment without the involvement of share market. It may be further divided into greenfield investment, brownfield investment. So in greenfield investment, what happens? The investor invest in Indian company without acquiring any ownership. Whereas in brownfield investment, the foreign company is acquiring partially or fully ownership in the Indian company. So, for example, I will explain you this with an example. So you must have heard about ICICI Prudential, Bajaj Alliance, Maruti Suzuki, Hero Honda, Mahindra and Renault. So all these companies are Indian companies who have collaborated with foreign companies. In example, Prudential is an outsider company, Alliance is again a German company, Suzuki is again a foreign company, Renault is again a foreign company. So they have not acquired any ownership in the Indian company. Instead, they have just collaborated. They have invested without acquiring any ownership. So these are example of greenfield investment. Brownfield investment, in these investment, the foreign companies acquires the ownership either wholly or partially. Friends, when the purpose of starting brownfield investment was very good, however, it has not served its intended purpose. Instead, what is the purpose was that there are some companies in India which are not doing very good. So when some outsider company will acquire their ownership, so due to change in management, due to change in technology, they will start earning profit and contribute to the GDP. But reverse has happened. Foreign companies, instead of acquiring such type of companies, they are acquiring huge profit making companies. Now you might have a question that why is some company who is already making profit will give its ownership to some foreign company? So the answer is simple, because they are offering huge money, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times more than what they actually have the value. Okay. Now FPI, foreign portfolio investment, that is another mode of capital investment. So whenever we heard the word portfolio, we should make a sense that it is somewhere related to share market. Okay. So for example, Mr. Barack Obama from USA wants to invest in Indian company. So he can't directly come here. He need to go through a route. That may be an institution. In our case, it is share market. That's why it is known as foreign institutional investor. First, Mr. Obama will buy a promissory note, P note that we say, from share market of say Reliance Industries. So let's discuss it with an example. Then you will have clear understanding about the difference between FII and ADR GDR. So दोस्तों, जैसे मैकडोनल्ड फॉर एग्जांपल, तो उसमें आप दो तरीके से बर्गर ले सकते हैं. एक तो आप होम डिलीवरी करा सकते हैं, आपने ऑर्डर दिया फ़ोन पे, वो आपके घर पे दे के आएगा. दूसरा होता है जो जनरली हमने वहीं पे लिया और वहीं पे खाया. तो FII इज़ लाइक आपने वहीं पे परचेज किया और वहीं पे आपने उसको यूटिलाइज किया. लेकिन होम डिलीवरी में आपके घर पे आता है वो. तो यहाँ पे उसी से आपको कोरिलेट करके अंडरस्टैंड करना है इसको कि ADR और GDR एक व्यवस्था है, एक तरीका है जिसमें मिस्टर ओबामा को इंडिया में आने की जरूरत नहीं है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, ही वॉन्ट्स टू बाय शेयर्स ऑफ टाटा मोटर्स. So Tata Motors will register itself on New York Stock Exchange with the help of some foreign intermediary that has been approved by Government of India, maybe Goldman Sachs. So Tata Motors will register itself on New York Stock Exchange with the help of financial intermediary, and then Mr. Obama can invest just by sitting in USA on New York Stock Exchange. In turn, the bank will take some commission, and the rest of the profit will come to Tata Motors. Now, what's the difference between ADR and GDR? American Depository Receipt, Global Depository Receipt. The difference is that American ADR is only for USA, whereas GDR is for European nations. Okay. So hope FII, ADR and GDR are clear to you. Now let's discuss about FCCB, Foreign Currency Convertible Bond. फ्रेंड्स, फॉर एग्जाम्पल दो दोस्त हैं एक्स और वाई. तो एक्स ज़्यादा रिस्क नहीं लेना चाहता, तो ही हैज़ इन्वेस्टेड इन अ बॉन्ड, वेर एज वाई बिलीव्स इन टेकिंग रिस्क. तो वाई ने इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट किया, लेकिन एक्स को रियलाइज़ हुआ 2-3 महीने बाद कि वाई को तो 30% 35% ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट हो रहा है, मे बी बिकॉज इकोनॉमी इज गोइंग बूमिंग. सो एक्स के मन में एक विचार आया कि क्यों ना मैं भी इसको इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट करा लूँ. सो देर इज़ अ प्रोविजन दैट आफ्टर सम टाइम ही कैन कन्वर्ट हिज बॉन्ड इनटू इक्विटी, बट अदर वे इज नॉट देयर. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, if somebody from equity wants to convert into bond, then that facility is not available. So that's all about FCCB. Now loans. Let's discuss about some. There are 3 components: ECR, external commercial borrowing; EA, external assistance and trade credit. So ECR is for commercial activities. For example, if India wants to build roads in northeast area of India, they can take a loan from World Bank. Since it is for a commercial purpose, for example, once road will be built, government will earn through tolls and through increased economic activity over there. So for such type of loans, rate of interest is high and maturity period is generally small. Whereas in external assistance, it is for some calamity. For example, if earthquake has devastated certain city, certain state, then that country can take loan from institutions like we have IDA, International Development Association. Since it is not for commercial purpose, rate of interest is very low. Moreover, maturity period is also very high. So this is all about ECR and EA. Now let's discuss about trade credit. Here items are traded on credit. For example, suppose India में कोई चीज़ surplus है. Example, potato are surplus in India. इतने surplus हैं कि they are decaying on the roads. और श्रीलंका में वहाँ पे उनकी deficit है. They require potatoes. However, they don't have money to give to India. So in such case, what India can do, India can give those potatoes to Sri Lanka, और पैसा हो सकता है बाद में आ जाए, क्योंकि इंडिया में भी वो डिके ही हो रहा था. उसके बदले वो पैसा हो सकता है 6 महीने या 1 साल बाद इंडिया को दे. और ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि कोई चीज़ जो श्रीलंका में सरप्लस है और इंडिया में डेफिसिट है, वो इंडिया को दे दे. मे बी लाइक अ बार्टर सिस्टम. सो दैट्स ऑल अबाउट ट्रेड क्रेडिट. नाउ बैंकिंग कैपिटल. Friends, you don't need to go into very detail about these terms. You just aware of the full form. NRER, non-resident external rupee account. NROR, non-resident ordinary rupee account. FCNR, foreign currency non-resident bank account. Still, I am giving you some point about all of them. So there are some similarities as well as some differences between NRER and NROR. For example, for both of them, NRER and NROR, current account and saving account can be opened. Both have a minimum amount of 75,000. Now there are certain differences as well. only NRI can open their account in NRER, whereas NRI, persons of Indian origin, overseas citizen of India, can open their account in NROR. Moreover, in NRER, money earned through Indian sources cannot be kept. This you should remember. Money earned through Indian sources cannot be kept in NRER. However, in NROR, only money that has been earned through Indian sources can only be kept. So that's sufficient for you. You just remember these facts. Coming to FCNR, it can only be maintained in terms of foreign currency. Moreover, you can't open current account or saving account. Only fixed deposit account can be opened in FCNR account. Net errors and omission. So it is again beyond our scope, but for our understanding, you just keep in mind that here unaccounted items are kept. For example, there are some smuggling activities going in the country. So all those things are kept in these accounts. Net forex reserve. So generally, when we think about forex reserve, we generally have tendency to think only of foreign currencies or gold, but there are four components of it again: foreign currency, foreign securities, gold, Indian gold tranche in IMF. Now, what is this Indian gold tranche in IMF? So every member of International Monetary Fund or IMF have to deposit a certain amount with IMF. That has two parts. Please listen it carefully. Any country need to deposit 25% in either gold or foreign currency. That is known as gold tranche. 25% in gold or foreign currency. That is known as gold tranche. And rest 75% in domestic currency. Rest 75% in domestic currency. This is known as credit tranche. So net forex reserve don't contains this credit tranche, but only gold tranche. That's why Indian gold tranche in IMF is a part of net forex reserve. Friends, I hope that this video will be helpful for you to understand balance of payment. And after going through this, you can just add on the current part to balance of payment, whatever news you are reading in the newspaper. And hope you like this video. Friends, if you want to discuss any particular topic, you can comment on the comment section. I will definitely try my best to prepare a video on that topic for you. Thank you and all the very best.